Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Daniel, أي نعم. ابن تيمية Sunni medication for Daniel Haqiqatjou's Rāfiḍī Dissimulation, posted by Abu Yad. Daniel Haqiqatjou is a pro-Iranian Rāfiḍī Shiite apologist, propagandist, and agent provocateur who uses his critics of liberalism and woke ideology as a cover to advance an agenda of seeding and fueling civil strife and sedition in Sunni Muslim lands by portraying the leader of Sunni Muslim lands as enemies of Islam, apostate and hypocrites purely on grounds of world politics and international relations, not on grounds of creed nor upon sound correctly applied principles governing takfir of specific individuals. At the same time, while pretending to be against the Iranian regime and presenting himself as a Sunni who abandoned Rāfiḍī Shiism, he tries to advocate for the Rāfiḍa and for the Iranian geopolitical interest by softening perception and views regarding the Rāfiḍa. In Sunni Muslim audience, he presents every excuse for them, cautioning against blanket takfir of them, while frequently and boldly making blanket takfir upon Sunni Muslim rulers and denigrating Sunni Muslim populations, describe them in the most evil of ways. As such, is to be considered and treated as an active, covert caller and agent for the Rāfiḍa tolerance and their geopolitical agendas through the use of taqiyya dissimulation. Though he pretends to oppose them and affirm their heresies, his real intent is to soften Sunni stance towards them, which in turn allows the infusion of Rāfiḍī Shiite position into Sunni's minds. We have covered his lies, deception, and hidden agendas in the other articles. You can refer to them through the link below. The seditious anti-Sunni propaganda activist of the neo-Sabbaite Daniel Haqiqatjou. In this series of articles, we present antidotes and medications for the toxicity and poison present with him and with those affected by him, and this will reveal whether the sickness can be cured or whether it has reached a terminal stage. Allah Musta'an. There are various types of medications having various mechanism of actions and various purposes. You have, for example, antibiotics, antifungals, antacids, antihistamines, antimalarials, and so on. We have discovered the We have discovered new class of drugs buried in the medicine books of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, which you have labeled anti-Rāfiḍols. We present them here. First, here is Daniel Haqiqatjou claiming that the Rāfiḍa Shia only have very minor difference with Al-Sunnah, and they are in agreement in their fear of Tawheed and the Quran, and the differences are only minor nuances in the ideological matters. He has many other statements which are similar to this, and which he tries to portray Rāfiḍī Shiism and as a benign, gentle, kindly, harmless that has been reformed and is no longer what it used to be, no longer subscribing to its extreme views, rather discouraging them. These are lies from Daniel, and given that taqiyya makes up most of the religion, these claims are not to be believed. Just like the hypocrites described in the Quran, the Rāfiḍa reveal and conceal their doctrines based on prevailing circumstances, based on whether it harms or benefits the interest. The first anti-Rāfiḍol. This is the Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah said, فَمَنْ لَهُ أَدْنَى أَيْ خَبَرَ بدين الإسلام يعلم أن مذهب الرافضة مناقض له، ولهذا كانت الزنادقة الذين قصدهم إفساد الإسلام يأمرون بإظهار التشييع والدخول إلى مقاصدهم من باب الشيعة. Whoever has the slightest acquaintance with the religion of Islam knows that the madhab doctrine of the Rāfiḍa contradicts it, and for this reason the Zanadiq are disbelieving heretics whose desire is to corrupt Islam, enjoying the outward display of the tashayyu and embarking upon their agendas through the door of Shiism. Number one, the statement of Shaykh al-Islam: whoever has the slightest acquaintance with the religion of Islam, then Haqiqatjou does not have real acquaintance with the religion of Islam, because all he has done is study philosophy and made critics of liberalism, leftism, and wokism in the absence of gaining true grounding in the affairs of Tawheed, Iman, and Aqidah, and affairs of methodology. His reputation are largely drawn from the reputation of liberalism, leftism, and wokism by conservative Christians, with the same speaking of Islamic reasoning and helps to give it an Islamic flavor for his ideas. This anti-liberalism in the way described has become his central axis, the lens through which he evaluates and judges everything else, in the absence of necessary grounding in the foundations of Islam, leading him to display great confusion, contradiction, exaggeration, and extremism in his opinions, views, and judgment, which are not anchored in the Quran and Sunnah. The above is not to downplay the importance of refuting atheism, liberalism, licentiousness, the destruction of the family, and so on. However, Salafis have been doing this for much longer than Daniel Haqiqatjou, who is simply by product of social media, like many other online performance artists. Number 2. The social shock Islam Ibn Taymiyyah note that the madhab doctrinal school of the Rāfiḍī contradicts it. The madhab of the Rāfiḍī contrary to the lies, deceptions, taqiyya of Daniel Haqiqatjou is in itself a direct contradiction and invalidation of the deen of Islam, being wholly incompatible with it. This is because it was founded by hypocrites and disbelievers. For this very purpose, it as a Trojan horse ideology, the Muslims see anti-Rāfiḍī peel below, because Daniel Haqiqatjou is either mentally retarded or he has not really shaken off the religion of his ancestors and is simply a pro-Rāfiḍī apologist wearing the cloak of Sunni Islam. Then he will not see this or refuse to see this or pretend not to see this due to taqiyya. Number 3. The Messenger of Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, and for this reason the Zanatika, disbelieving heretics, who is to corrupt Islam, enjoying the outward display of Tashayyu and embarking upon the agendas through the door of Shiism. It is the goal of Daniel Haqiqatjou to present the Rāfiḍī followers as being similar to groups like the Asharis and Maturidis, which is to say that yes, they have some errors, or let's be daring enough like Delhi is to say heresies. But in comparison to Jews and Christians, they are Muslims who originally agree with Sunnis on Tawheed and the Quran and have very minor differences. This is the taqiyya of Daniel Haqiqatjou, because it is a rank ignominious who has next to genuine inside of Islam. It is distinguished in the matters of affair between the ruling of kufr upon an individual and between the ruling upon a group who is doctrine. That's why the deen of the Rāfiḍī in its sense is kufr in fact and zanadika, not tawheed and Islam for as really portrays. It can be the case that there are ignorant people who think they are following Islam, but they are mistaken because the truth has not reached them, or to ensure that they are not treated unjustly. They are only clear disbelievers if they reject the truth as knowledge and removal of misconception. Hence, absence of the fear of many of the Rāfiḍī does not mean absence of the fear of the group. The madhab of the Rāfiḍī was created as a Trojan horse for the destruction of Islam. It is incompatible with Islam in its foundation. It is for this very reason, that throughout the ages it has been used by disbelieving heretics from its enemies to use it as a cover and shield for their activity. Today, Rāfiḍī Shiism at the high level is largely veil and cover for Persian magians trying to exact their vengeance against Islam and the Arabs for ending the empire. The second anti-Rāfiḍī. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said, دم الرافضة كلام السلف وأئمة كثير جدا. قد علم علماء أن أول من ابتدأ الرافضة في الإسلام بعض الزنادقة المنافقين. The sense of Rāfiḍī in the speech of the Salaf and leading Imams is very abundant. The scholars knew that the first to innovate Rafd in Islam were some of the disbelieving hypocrites. A religion fabricated by disbelieving heretics in which the Quran was delivered to the wrong person is incomplete and tampered with those in initial careers, and converts all became apostate, some of whom in which Ali is God or the rightful prophet, and in which their imams have divine powers and continue to save revelations. Then they can hardly be a religion whose adherents can be said to have many differences with Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. The third anti-Rāfiḍī, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said, الرافضة أمة مخدلة ليس لها عقل صحيح ولا نقل صريح ولا دين مقبول ولا دينا منصورا. The Rāfiḍī is a forsaken nation. It does not have sound rational understanding, nor authentic transmission of revealed text, nor an acceptable religion, nor a worldly cause that is added. It is unclear how a religion so described can be said by so to be something which only minor difference with Al-Sunnah that return back to nuisance. In theology, the reality is that this is the religion that Daniel is attempting to shield and provide cover for, and trying to make it appear that the Rāfiḍī as victims of Gulf propaganda. Indeed, his use of this term, Gulf propaganda, in itself reveals a lot, and it's clear that he has grievance with the Gulf Arab states that are worldly and tied to race and civilization, indicating that much of his venom and various disputes from this angle. The fourth anti-Rāfiḍī. Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah said, فَإِنَّكَ لَا تَجِدُ فِي طَوَافِ الْأَهْلِ الْقِبْلَةِ أَعْظَمَ جُهْلًا مِنَ الرَّافِضَةِ ولا أكثر حرصا على الدنيا وقد تدبرهم فوجدتهم لا يضيقون إلى الصحابة أين وإلا وهم أعدم الناس اتصافا به والصحابة أبد الناس عنه فهم أقرب الناس بلا ريب كمسيلمة الكذاب إذا قال أنا نبي صادق ومحمد كذاب ولهذا يصفون أنفسهم بالإيمان ويصفون الصحابة بالنفاق وهم أعظم طوائف نفاقا والصحابة أعظم خلق الإيمان. Indeed, you will not find among the factions of Ahlul Qibla those greater in ignorance and no most eager for the world than the Rāfiḍī. I have reflected over them and found that they do not ascribe any flaw to their companions except they are the greatest of people in being described with it, and the companions are the farthest of people from it. They are the most lying of people to know of, like Musaylama the liar when he said, I am a truthful prophet, and Muhammad is a liar. For this reason, they describe themselves with iman, faith, and they describe the companions with the nifaq, hypocrisy. Yet they are the greatest of functions in hypocrisy, while the companions are the greatest of the creation in the faith. Daniel wishes to portray the differences of the greatest of liars and greatest in hypocrisy with Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah to be like the difference between the Asharis or the Murjiyatul Fuqaha, for example. With Al-Sunnah, they are just names, no essence in the ideology. However, that in itself is a mighty lie. Rather, the deen of the Rāfiḍī is pure kufr and hypocrisy in its very foundations. And this is why you see that what you see of the great enmity towards Al-Sunnah. Given the above anti-Rāfiḍī appeal, why will it be strange that Daniel Haqiqatjou should present the Sunni Muslim rulers and scholars in general, and in particular those of the Gulf states, as hypocrite, hypocrite enemies of Islam, while at the same time shielding the actual hypocrite opposite and its enemies of Islam, masquerading as 12 Shiite and the region they uphold, which is a clear Trojan horse for the destruction of Islam, defeat and anti-Rāfiḍī. Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah said, وَالرَّافِضَ لَيْسَ لَهُمْ سَعْيِ إِلَّا فِي هَدَمُ الْإِسْلام وَنَقْضُ آرَهُ وَيُفْسَادُ قَوَائِدَهُ. The Rāfiḍī have no strength except in the destruction of Islam and breaking of its handle and corruption of its foundations. This is particularly powerful and bitter appeal. It is unclear whether the legs of Daniel Haqiqatjou could stomach it. It does not take guts to swallow, since the deen of the Rāfiḍī from its inception since the deen of the Rāfiḍī from its inception has always been a Trojan horse subversive movement opposed on the scholars and rulers of the Muslims. Since the era of the companions, then its agenda from the outset is the destruction of Islam. Now that does not mean that every Rāfiḍī is cognizant of this or is on the agenda, since all movements have blind and ignorant followers who do not really grasp the reality and purpose of the ideology or movement they are caught up in. This is just like the Freemasonry, which is like pyramid, where there are sheep and useful idiots at the bottom, who are directed by those at the top for clearly defined agendas and goals. This is how Rāfiḍī is seen by the most erudite, insightful, and learned, well-wise and experienced scholars of the religion, such as Ibn Taymiyyah. Why will you ignore this and take something from an ignorant and deluded individual such as Daniel Haqiqatjou? It does not make any sense. One has to keep in mind that Taqiyya is from the foundations of the deen of the Rāfiḍī, and hence they make a display of unity, and they may prohibit the common folk for expressing their kufr doctrines openly, and their scholars may use caution in what they write and say, but all of this is a shield, cover, and deflection. It is not as Daniel Haqiqatjou tries to claim that the Rāfiḍī have reformed and no longer hold their extremist views, the two views between health and terminal illness. The first view is what we have seen in the speech of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, in which we find health and vitality. The view which we see the deen of the Rāfiḍī for what it is, built upon the foundations of kufr and nifaq, aimed at destroying Islam and corrupting its foundations, carried at the top of its pyramid by hypocrites and disbelievers, and then followed beneath by hordes and multitude of ignorance lacking rationality. One must keep in mind the different functions and labels used to avoid confusion. Shia is a broad umbrella term, but we must distinguish between the original Shia, who took the side of Ali, who took Abu Bakr and Umar while disliking Muawiyah until the affair was over, and therefore considering him righteous. B, the Rāfiḍī, who rejected Abu Bakr, Umar, and the rest of the companions, and they had emerged after opposing. C, the Zaydiyah, this is another one, who did not reject Abu Bakr and Umar and their righteousness. D, the Rāfiḍī followers, among whom the ideas of Abdullah bin Saba flourished and grew, and who added the other major areas. And E, groups like Nusayrs and Ismailis who grew out of the Rāfiḍī. So Ibn Taymiyyah's speech is about the Rāfiḍī and not the original Shia and whoever is like is them or the Zaydiyah, and this speech is about the Rāfiḍī, about the politic, the group, the missionary, the collective, which is its foundations, a movement aimed at corrupting and destroying Islam. As for individuals that come under the broad umbrella of Shiism or the Rāfiḍī, then due to variation in individual beliefs, they are given the excuse of ignorance in the view of some scholars. The second view is what we have seen in the terminally ill mind disease of heart that of Daniel Haqiqatjou, the one in which the Rāfiḍī are in agreement with Al-Sunnah regarding Tawheed and the Quran, and they only have minor disagreements, simply in matters of theology, and their differences are no different of what they exist between Al-Sunnah and the Asharis, for example, or Al-Sunnah and the Fuqaha among the Murji'ah, and which is similar and further. That they are vanguards and defenders of Islam. So this is considered terminal illness. It is toxicity, and it presents the utmost corruption, blindness, and ignorance of the foundation of Islam. Conclusion: from our discussion of the above, we should now have some clarity about the criterion between what is a healthy, robust view regarding the Rāfiḍī and what is a sick, twisted, and perverted view of the Rāfiḍī, indicating a diseased heart and retarded mind. Further, anti-Rāfiḍīs can be considered a new class of medicine, and I encourage all of Al-Sunnah to extract as many of them as they can from the works of Ibn Taymiyyah and the scholars who preceded him or come after him. From the most laughable attempt of Haqiqatjou is use of the Aman message as evidence that the Rāfiḍī are upon guidance and just as group like any other group among Muslims. With minor differences, that is his evidence. This indicates his complete and utter bankruptcy in knowledge.